I hope you're not on Apple Music. Amazon Music, don't be there either. Hello. That's a strong start, isn't it? Fucking hell.
Start as we mean to go on.
Start as we mean to go on. I'm Nate. Welcome to Boropod, where we're going to talk about 2 defeats and we're going to try not to be fucking miserable about it. Our travelling salesman, Greg's back. Hello, mate.
Hello. Good to be
back.
How
are you? How are you, other than the gaping holes in your wall?
Yeah, other than the gaping hole in the wall, which no idea how that happened. Other than that, it's good. I mean, I didn't watch the game last night. I wasn't able to make it due to work.
Fucking so glad you're here.
And I still feel like I'll be able to give as much insight as a lot of people. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the quiz, if I'm honest with you.
Oh, I ain't done quiz.
Brilliant. Okay. What the fuck are we doing here? That's the only reason I'm here is for the quiz.
Nick, have you got a quiz?
No.
Oh fuck, we are royally fucked. Okay, well,
I've got nothing to talk about with the game, so I'll quickly do a quiz, and then you tell us yourselves.
Hi, Nick.
Hello.
You'd have thought with 2 extra days we'd be more prepared.
Yeah, but it's a Wednesday, so that basically allows us to be unprepared. It's not routine.
No, I should have done this before, but is it better with or without that light?
Without.
Actually, nah, with. Fuck it. Well, we'll go 50-50. There you go. I can dim it down a bit. There we go. That's a look behind the curtain.
Show some light in the darkness that is Stevenage Football Club.
Everyone looks better in the dark, going by my experience. So.
Well, according to Pat last week, I was the fucking emperor from Star Wars. So
you were, to be fair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've already had our first question. We'll jump on that in a little bit. Silver, black, 40-60. We'll come back to that.
Hold on, he's
because it's a question I'd like answering. To be honest,
is he talking about Stevenage or the Raiders though? Because it looks like he's a Raiders fan.
I mean,
could apply to life.
I'll be honest, it could be either. The question works for both. I think we'll answer. We'll answer it for Stevenage, given the you know the aim of the podcast generally. Although I would say, mate, don't worry, because your starting quarterback isn't going to be Philip Rivers this weekend. We'll just move on from that. And we'll talk about Stevenage 1, Walsall 2. Let me see if I can quickly sum this up in a nice, succinct way. That means we can probably move on. First half, a lot of nothing happened. We were in control, however. The second half, we scored and looked like we were in control. And then it was the 90th minute and we'd lost. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, they made two changes at once. I can't remember what. I'm going to say an hour in. That is a complete guess, but it was in the second half. They made 2 changes in midfield.
62 minutes. Lewis Warrington came on for Brandon Comley, and Jake Holman came on for Kemar Reeve, who, honestly, when he read his name out, I was like, was he even playing?
Yeah.
They also did make 2 halftime changes with a KK and Jellis coming on for Harper and Clark, and they were 2 good changes as well.
Maybe it's those 2 that I'm thinking about then, because it was when Jellis came on. They
were better. They were better in the second half, but we were still comfortable right up until the moment they scored, and then I turned to Stacey and said, "We'll lose this."
I think
so boring and easy to predict. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it was another example of a team coming to our place with a set game plan, and in fairness to them, executing it to perfection. Because, like you say, like for the first 45 minutes, we were fairly comfortable, but we didn't really threaten. I mean, we were putting balls into the box to Bez Labala to try and score a header against some relatively tall centre backs. They were playing a back 3. And and we just didn't really look like. I think Louis Thompson hit the crossbar, but it was a 25-yard effort. There was a couple of those.
Exactly. The XG on that will be 0.01.
Yeah,
Right?
there wasn't really anything there.
Do you think the plan for like lofting it into the box for Bez was, well, we've tried to find his feet and he can't use those. Let's just aim for his head.
Yeah, I think I said during the game, I was like, if we're going to play like this, why have we not started with a Hadme? So I don't know if that was the plan to be started to put loads across in the box. So I feel like if that was your plan, you'd start the 6'3" fella that's sitting on your bench. Who
scored a header.
Yeah, so I don't
scored?
know.
Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was how we intended to play, or if that was just the way that they were set up, and really that was the space was out wide. We were getting the ball, we were kind of getting into areas, and that was kind of the option of what we were trying to force, rather than being a bit more patient and trying to play between lines, which we've never been the greatest at anyway. But it didn't work. Best we had was a couple of pot shots from 25 yards, but yeah, I don't really think they got out of their half at all either. So you'd be disappointed going in 0-0. They probably were very happy knowing that they were going to make 2 changes and very much look to hit us in a different way second half. And yes, their goals came from mistakes, but actually I think they were partially forced in the way that they changed how they were playing in the second half. And we were naive to think that they were just going to sit off for another 45.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say we've given the Pizza Cup more airtime in this conversation than we have for the entire season. So, I mean, I know there's not a lot to talk about generally, but it's a slightly frustrating one though, because it is a sort of competition that for a club like us, especially with what you've just seen today with Phil Wallace buying more shares and having to fill essentially the club debt that has been accrued over the year to keep us sustainable. Yeah, this is the competition where you can make some serious money from. So that was the frustrating part of it. But from a lineup perspective, it was relatively strong, or as strong as it could be. But I just like it seems to have been this way for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks. We just don't seem to be able to get a game plan together that makes us look threatening, and we're relying heavily on set pieces rather than actually trying to attack a team. And we'll get to this with the Cardiff game a little bit as well, but the lack of goals is really, really concerning. It's scary how we've gone from a team that at the start of the season, looked a threat and looked like a team that were on the front foot playing this kind of new style, and now we've gone. I mean, it's just been pretty turgid for weeks, right? And I don't understand why that's changed so dramatically. I know that there's been some games when we were playing in the sort of 4-2-3-1 formation that probably didn't go our way, or we didn't quite get going, or whatever. You're going to have days like that when you're a League One football club, and any football club for that matter. But it feels like moving to 3 at the back has been almost like a damage limitation of being worried about shipping some goals, even though we haven't really shipped goals playing 4 at the back. And the league position, getting further in these cup rounds, it's almost like playing to hopefully nick a goal rather than being on the front foot, which you should be. When you're playing a game against a League Two opposition, granted, Walsall are a decent side, they're not a terrible side by any stretch, but you should be really taking the game to them rather than what I saw, which kind of just felt like the game meandered through. We scored when we scored, then didn't really react in any good way whatsoever. What I did enjoy, though, from Walsall's perspective, is they had a kid playing, I don't know if it was centre midfield or centre back, I can't remember, who looked the youngest player I've ever seen on a football pitch, with the oldest man's name, Stan Straw, which I found quite entertaining.
Yeah, he was central centre back.
Yeah.
But I remember I saw him when they came out, and I was like, he looks about 12. And I thought, surely we'd look at that and go, or we could, like, I'm sure he was very good on the ball, but when you come up against a player that's young, there's an opportunity there to really stamp your authority in that position in that game and give him a really difficult night. And I think he had one of the best performances on the pitch.
He's 17.
Yeah,
He can't be 17. Literally looks 12.
He's 17. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he bossed the Barla, which you could argue if that's difficult or not. But
You'd boss the Barla, Nick.
He did it though at 17 years old. But yeah, they're the kind of games where hindsight is a wonderful thing. But I look at it, I go, it took us, I want to say 70 odd minutes for Ahad to come on in a game where we put in a lot of crosses.
Yeah.
And it just felt like we were really slow to react to anything, both in terms of game management, but also the players on the pitch reacting to situations and the like. It just felt like a really unprofessional performance in that vein. And that's what is always disappointing about those fixtures. You can always deal with losing to a lower league opposition if you've played well, but they've just played better, or they've nicked a goal in circumstances that are beyond your control. You can kind of deal with it as much as you can be disappointed by it. But it was the matter that we lost that game that was just really, really poor.
There was a lot of nonsense for both of the goals, wasn't there? I mean, Charlie Good getting nutmegged because he completely just got sold by the dummy from their forwards, and then Tay moving out to that side, and then just being caught in no man's land, and then the comedic defending from Pattenden, who just instead of clearing his lines, looks like he was auditioning for Strictly.
Yeah,
it does nothing with it, does he?
It was really poor. I mean, the first goal, looking back at it, you can see Pattenden commits high up the pitch. That leaves Good with two players. He gets done by the dummy because he just doesn't know which one to go with, and he ends up just standing still. And whether I think Tay has never really been that kind of keeper to play on the front foot anyway. But gets caught in that situation of do I stay, do I go?
It was like a deer in headlights.
Yeah,
sort of stands and watches.
The ball then comes across the box, and it's a fairly simple finish with us being slow to get back in. But the second goal is just it's so poor in terms of one, the clearance from Pattenden is awful. It then deflects into a space where someone, either Good or Tay, I don't care which one, has to deal with it, and the communication clearly isn't there. Because Good leaves it expecting Tay's going to come and get it. Tay's expecting Good's going to boot it up the pitch. And you're left with a player with an easy tap in.
Mm-hmm.
And they're experienced players. Pattenden, albeit being, I think he's 23, 24, has played in League One for long enough to be able to manage situations like that and know what the right decisions are. He could have passed it back to Tay for that second goal, and we could have cleared out the pitch that way. But he tries to do it himself, and not only has Tay come across to help him and is now out of position for when that ball deflects into the box, but he's also then put us under pressure in our own box as well. So they're just really poor decisions, and that seems to be a theme over the last few weeks. Is decision making has been really below par.
19 shots, according to FOTMob. 19 shots, only one on target. I mean. Pretty much tells you everything you need to know about pretty much just where we are at the moment, and not even that game. That just feels very, very Stevenage at the moment going forward, and last night was arguably even worse in that regard. But you've got to find ways to. I mean, look, 19 shots. A lot of those shots might have been speculative efforts from here, there, and everywhere, but you've got to find ways to put yourself on the front foot and break teams down. And we know we're a team that, if we're given possession, we tend to struggle. But in the early part of the season, I didn't feel the same way about that. That used to be like last year, and under Evans, it used to be like we didn't really want the ball. We just wanted, soak up a bit of pressure and hit him on the counter. Whereas the early part of this season, I didn't feel that was as big of an issue. But in recent weeks, the last 7 games for sure, it's becoming more and more apparent that this change in tactical formation, but even prior to that, it just doesn't seem to be clicking. And it is a concern because, I mean, if you exclude the Pizza Cup, it's like 2 goals in 8 games. Like that, by anyone's standard, is relegation level of attacking play, right? And luckily, defensively, we're still very, very astute for the most part.
I took the piss out of a Bolton fan for saying that their defence is better because they don't sacrifice their ability to play on the front foot to be stout in defence. I was like, that's not really what's going on. We just shit up top. But the more I think, the longer it goes on, the more I think, maybe to a fucking point.
Mate, I think with three at the back for sure. I think moving to three at the back, you're kind of asking to give up a bit going forward. But when we were playing a four at the back, we were still solid at the back. We weren't conceding goals for fun. So moving to that sort of three at the back formation, I don't know if it was a personnel thing or I don't know what the reasoning behind that is, but it can't have been to shore us up. It had to be they felt that was going to get more out of the attack, and it just hasn't done that in any way.
I mean, I think with this squad going to a three at the back, generally will always put us on the back foot because the way that we play a three at the back, you need a target man up front as your focal point to get the ball up the pitch quickly and to play off of. Otherwise, we haven't got that ability to play through the lines with midfielders and forwards that are going to drop into space. We haven't got those kind of players. The 4-2-3-1, the reason that we were so good at the start of the season was because there was a bit more of that fluidity with wide players to be able to make the runs in behind fullbacks and for us to have those spaces. But we were also clinical. And the Walsall game was an example of actually having a decent amount of chances, 19 shots, but being really poor clinically. I mean, Phoenix had a 1-on-1 that he put over the bar as an example that I think at the start of the season in a league match, we were burying those chances. And they're the fine margins when it comes to you're creating chances and your attacking players aren't doing the job. And then as we kind of move into last night, it was the example of we've not done anything really in the final third. There's no chance there for anyone to take. and for those two games to happen in the space of a week really sums up how far we've fallen off from where we were at the start of the season.
Yeah. Talking about last night, Stevenage 0, Cardiff 1. I'm sure you're all aware. I don't know who Opta had at Stevenage these days, but whoever it is gets the formation wrong most weeks. Marshall in goal, back three of Good, Pidge and Freestone, Early and Wilding as the wing backs that are supposed to offer something more than they did in attack. Houghton and Docko playing, Houghton, Docko and Thompson playing as like a midfield three, and then you had Reed and Labala with Labala, I don't know, sort of just there. Good to see Houghton return from injury and play so well. Doherty didn't look out of place, although he didn't. It was a very difficult game for him to shine in. Didn't shine as he has done previously. I mean, just a bad game all round, really. I don't think anybody can go out. I don't think there's anybody that you can say they had a good game other than Houghton, really.
It's a weird game because I think it's one of those performances where, like, I think everyone will agree it was incredibly difficult to watch, but fundamentally the game plan was
second half more so.
Yeah, but fundamentally the game plan was fairly obvious of let's limit them to as many chances as possible and see if we can nick something from a set piece, a long throw. That was basically it. And so naturally, when Pidge got on the ball, when Freestone got on the ball, even when Goo got on the ball, like the instruction was clearly just boot it into the channels and see if we can feed off of something, which is not pretty in the slightest.
And when you're playing up against that back four, I have no idea how to say his name, but Perry
and G,
Fish, Chambers, and Bagan. And then you got Robertson and Wintle in front of them. It's a no-go. It's just not going to work. And they just dealt with absolutely everything that we threw at them with pure ease. their forward, Saleh, who had a shite game, still had one more shot in total than we as a team managed. He had 3 shots, we had 2. One of us was on target. One of them was blocked with 33% possession. Pass success rate was 49%, which is the lowest I've seen this season. And like you said, that comes from whack it. It's the most long ball we've been since the beginning of the Evans era. We haven't had a game where we've pumped the ball long more. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it was extremely Evans Mark 1 when he brought in a Verdane Oliver or a Kane Hemmings as his partner up front to do the dirty work of trying to win headers against centre-backs. It was that style, like carbon copy. We even had Saxon Early back at left wing back from that era. Yeah. So it was proper Evans ball. But when you're missing that really key element to that squad, that we knew Verdane Oliver and Kane Hemmings weren't very good footballers, but the job they did in that side was so crucial to the way that we were playing that it did help, like Reed, for example. But when Reed's there with Labala, who can't win a header and gets about 2 inches off the floor every time, there's just nothing to feed off of at all. I think Reed had 4 touches in the opposition box the entire game. And I think 3 of them were in the first half when the ball was jumping around between people's legs for about 30 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those that you can sort of understand the game plan. Cardiff are a very good side. Clearly the best team in the league. They didn't necessarily show it in full yesterday, although I think that's probably because we negated a lot of their attacking threat. I don't think they looked particularly dangerous when they were in the final thirds until we made those changes that sort of stuck an extra man up into the attacking third, which left us a bit empty in the middle. And I think you said it yesterday, Nick. We made the change, and then next thing you know, they've got the ball in the area because they've got an extra man, and he's had a pop shot and it's gone in.
I mean, I watched back the goal, and I think it showed again naivety from us as a side, because we switched to have a 4 at the back, where for the entire game what actually was happening was Salek was dropping into the midfield, into the half spaces, and Houghton would pick him up. So we had 3 centre backs that weren't doing anything. Freestone was often coming across to support Saxon when it went wide. Similarly, on the other side, Good was doing the same for Wilding. So actually, we always had a spare centre back in that situation for 70 odd minutes of the game. The minute that we switched, they saw that we had 2 centre backs on bookings, and as we started to play that, you could see the spaces open up in between. So they just stuck an extra striker on, and we got absolutely done by another manager looking at it and going, I know exactly where to exploit them here.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it was Houghton getting drawn in to the ball and the challenge after we lost it. Doherty, a 17-year-old kid in his first League One game, with the job of marking an ex-Premier League forward. Whatever you think about Callum Robinson, he's played at a very high level. He's smart, and you're up against a 17-year-old lad in his debut. Like, it's an honest mistake for him to make, to lose him in that space, and you're left without the spare centre back closing the ball down. And it's a great finish, but it was so avoidable in terms of how we set up for those changes. And actually, I look back, and that game, and I can't remember what other game it would have been. Not Wigan, but Doncaster it might have been. I think we've played 3 formations in a fair number of fixtures recently, because we've switched from a 3 to a 4, a 4 to a 3, gone behind and gone, we need to change again, and gone and stuck 2 up front and ended up in a 4-4-2. I think there was one point we ended up doing that and putting Kemp at right wing because we didn't have enough changes to put the right players on the pitch. And it does scream of reactionary decisions to a situation that was avoidable. I actually would have said the changes we did last night would have been the change we should have done at Wigan, and the change we did at Wigan should have been the ones we did last night. and it's that I find really difficult to digest as a fan, when you see these things and you can see that the right ideas are there, they're just being applied to the wrong situations. And as a result, we're losing matches or we're dropping points when really we should be picking up 1 or 3 points as a result.
Is Revs a bit in his head?
I think so, and it's how we've spoken about the 3-back as to whether it's an experiment that shouldn't have continued. I mean, I don't think it should have continued after we used it the first time. I think that was a very specific use of it in a certain game, in a certain scenario, that actually we should have gone back to what we knew and what had worked for the majority of the start of the season. It was only really for that one game that it felt right to go with a 3-back, and then we've tried to use it since, but minus the cup game against Walsall. And as we've said, we've lacked going forwards, and that's been our problem in the last 2 months, because it has been 2 months, which is the worrying bit about it. It just feels like we're out of ideas.
Yeah. So let's address the question we had earlier. How have we gone from a decent team to this current shambles?
I think there's a few reasons behind it. I think the first reason is I think teams are becoming wiser to how we play, how we played, and obviously changing that to a different style and different formation hasn't worked. But I also think, like Nick hit the nail on the head earlier, about at the early part of the season, we were clinical. We were taking chances when they were being presented. And, your whatever the game was, the Walsall game, sorry, when we were talking about having 19 shots and 1 on target, you can't be walking away from a home game losing 2-1 after that. You have to be taking more of those chances and testing the goalkeeper more often. But the Cardiff game, I think, again, I can only look at it statistically because I wasn't there last night, but it feels like from what Nick's saying as well, that we kind of went in with a game plan of how to stop Cardiff rather than going in with a game plan of how are we going to win this game. And that's a dangerous precedent. Like, I get if you're, I think Pat mentioned earlier on a WhatsApp group about it felt like an FA Cup game where we're playing a Premier League opposition or a higher league opposition.
It's quite a good. It's not exactly the same, but it's not a bad mirror for how we approached Villa away, is it? That was very much we set up trying to not be too far behind, so that once we got into the last 15-20 minutes, we could chuck an extra striker on and have a go at it and make steal something. And it felt like that's what we sort of did yesterday.
But I think in games like Villa, we still knew we had some level of out. I mean, I think back to the Villa game, and Norris and Rose both had chances in the first half for us to go ahead.
Rose scored, didn't he?
Because we knew that the space was going to be there and behind Villa.
Yeah.
Because of how we were playing. It felt like we went into the Cardiff game, and to be quite honest, not to put Cardiff in any similar level to Villa, but they played the same way. Their defence were incredibly high, and there was many times that we did lump the ball forward, and it bounced a fair few times on their defensive line / behind their defensive line, and we were just so deep, or we didn't have fast players on the pitch up front to get out and get on the end of things, or to.
We didn't really have fast players against Villa either. Norris was up front.
Yeah, but it was that anticipation to go. He's bounced last time. Let me just take the gamble that it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to stick Phoenix on, knowing that he's not going to do your defensive work, and primarily what we're talking about is trying to be defensively solid. Why not stick him up front and see if he can run in behind a few times? Like these are the things that we've played many players out of possession in the past for various reasons. It's an example of how we should be trying to utilise the strengths of players that maybe aren't getting minutes, but could really stamp their impact on a game like that.
In a game like, using the Villa example, when you've got like a Danny Rose who, sure, he's not lightning quick, but he's someone who's going to play on that last defender, and he's going to be a nuisance the whole time. Yeah. We don't really have those kind of players anymore. You don't have that shithouse who's going to sit there and just piss off centre halves the whole game by just basically chopping at their toes every 2 seconds. So if you want to go and play that kind of way, You need someone who's got that tireless work rate like Rose used to have, or you need someone who can be quick enough to get in behind. So when those opportunities are to knock the ball over the top, you got at the back there. You've got. I mean, I don't know much about Fish, but you've got Callum Chambers. I mean, he's got to be what, maybe my early 30s, maybe. But he's had so many knee injuries over his career. He's not exactly rapid, so he's not going to want to see a nippy little forward playing alongside him. So it's one of those ones where I just hate, certainly for home games. Away games, when you're playing against a side that are just better than you, I don't mind setting up in a bit more of a different way to try and negate that and try and hit them later. I don't mind that so much. But when you're at home, you kind of feel like you do need to be more on the front foot. You need to be a little bit more aggressive. And, if you get picked off by just a better team on the night, I can live with that a lot more than what we saw last night, which was 2 shots, not a single one on target. Because statistically, that is an absolute shit show from us.
Yeah.
You're not going to win them, are you?
Yeah, and also you're not going to. We talk a lot about how do we get people into the stadium? How do we build crowds? No one's going to.
Not like that.
Yeah, anyone who went to that game last night, first time watching Stevenage, isn't going to sit there and think, "Oh, can't wait for the next game."
Yeah.
When are they playing next? Like, they're just not going to do it. And it's. I'm a firm believer of what we had at the start of the season. Yes, we were clinical, but it was also a little bit fun to watch at times. Like having those 2 wingers who were causing impact, and obviously it helps when you're winning. Of course it does. If you go and play that way and get beaten, I still think it's more entertaining. I still walk out of the ground thinking, pissed off we lost, but sure, I'd much rather do that with a team that's on the front foot and trying to win a game rather than a team who are just damage limitation for 75 minutes in the hope that we might hit them later, because that's not going to work long term. It might work for a one-off cup tie. It might work for the occasional one-off game when you're playing against a better opposition. But it feels like for weeks now we've been talking about it was the same. Peterborough was a similar game. We were Peterborough. We didn't really kind of put ourselves on the front foot, but we nicked the penalty and then went and won the game. Reading, similar situation. We just didn't really get going in that game whatsoever, but we had exactly the same game plan. It's been the same for weeks, yet nothing seems to change.
I mean, I think one of the factors equally when we talk about how we've gone from where we were at the start of the season is I think we also heavily relied on individual quality at the start of the season. And if you look at the team we had last night, didn't have Harvey White in it, didn't have Dan Kemp in it, Jordan Roberts missing, Phoenix Patterson was on the bench. Chem Campbell's on the bench. Like, you'd argue they are what we'd look at for our creative players. And at the start of the season, you had Cheb scored a couple of goals from individual quality of cutting inside and finishes. Kemp, we saw all of last season, individually can be the best player on the pitch on multiple occasions and can score goals and assist. And even Harvey White at the start of this year, we were talking about being a real big focal point for us. But when you're missing these kind of players, the importance of actually what is your identity, what are your principles, how do you play? Because our squad depth is decent. I mean, you look at the midfield we had yesterday, you had Jordan Houghton, Louis Thompson, Ryan Doherty, but you still had Dan Phillips on the bench. That's a great selection of midfielders, considering you still had Harvey White out, you still had Dan Kemp out. But we just didn't have anything that said, actually, this is how we want to play. This is how we build up through the lines. This is what our identity is. So that if it is Kemp, if it is Roberts, or if it has to be Phillips or Doherty or Louis Thompson, they know what their job is in that position. And I think that's also where we've dropped off, is we've over-relied on individual quality. And some of those players just aren't performing either. I mean, before Roberts got injured, people were talking about he needed to be dropped because his performances weren't up to the level that we expected. I think even Kemp probably fell off as well for a period of time in the last couple of months in terms of performances.
I was going to say the two that stand out for me is the performances have dropped to Reed and Kemp. Reed, not necessarily his fault because the service has fallen off, and part of the service that's fallen off is because Kemp isn't pulling the strings. Because when Kemp's at his sort of tricky best, he floats in those half spaces, into those half spaces so well that he draws people out. He moves defenders around. He'll go and find himself a little bit of space over on their right flank, which frees up space for Kem or for Phoenix to move. And now what we're seeing is none of that from Kemp. But there are a couple of times when he's almost being marked out of games. People are focused on him. It does seem to be. If you take him out of the game, someone else from the midfield has to step into that position, either from the wide spaces or from behind him. And then when you do that, that opens up space for their then attacking players to move into those spaces that we vacated, and our system breaks down very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And it's what we've seen time and time again in the 4-2-3-1, and then with the three at the back, you sort of you're sacrificing Kemp into a central midfield role. We've seen him sort of playing on the left, sort of more in the Harvey White sort of space a couple of times, and it's just like, fuck. Do you want to see him playing that deep? Yeah. I don't.
It's not a new problem. This is the exact same problem we had last year. The exact same problem of relying on Kemp to be our creative spark. And actually, the problem that we had last year is we didn't have any wingers.
We've added so much.
Yeah, but we haven't played our wingers in the last 3 games from the start. Or if we have, we've been playing Bez Labala as one of them, and Chem as the other one sometimes, and Phoenix I think started against Walsall. But we haven't used the wingers that we've bought consistently in a shape that clearly was the way that we were intending to move this season.
What's Phoenix got to do to get a proper, not just the odd start here and there in the Pizza Cup, but like a proper run of things?
It's really difficult.
Is it just an end product? It needs more end product.
He was really poor when he came on last night. Really poor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's you're coming on for 20 minutes against Cardiff. It's going to be difficult.
It's up against one of the best right backs.
Yeah, and I personally don't think the shape change was helpful, but I think that's probably up for a conversation in terms of, well, it's either that or you don't have any attacking threat for the rest of the game. But he wasn't good yesterday. I mean, he gave away the ball in the wide area that led to their goal ultimately. And in similar games previously, I think Chesterfield was an example where he gave the ball away a fair amount. And I think that's the bit is from...
You kind of accept that with some players. Yeah, like Roberts gives the ball away all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And I know that people get really frustrated with Roberts because he will go through phases where he just does fuck all. And he'll have really quiet games, or he'll have a game where he gets booked early. It's like, well, that's him fucking gone then. But you kind of like you
I think he needs a run of game.
Like I'm not, the comparison is ridiculous. Don't like, I'm not saying they're at the same level at all, but Bruno Fernandes is the sort of player who will give the ball away all the time. You turn your nose up at it, Greg, but he's a fucking quality footballer. He might be a whining little twat, but he's a fucking unbelievable footballer because he makes things.
Agree.
And we need to kind of, even at our level, we're at the top end of League One for a reason, because we fucking got there. The table, no matter what point of the season in. People always say, "Oh, at the end of the season, table doesn't lie." The table doesn't lie in fucking December. We're up there because we're in 6th because we've been better than 18 other fucking teams. Full stop. We might be on the decline, but at this stage, our average is a lot better than a lot of other teams that are performing right now better than us. The table doesn't ever fucking lie, really. And I think what we need to do to try and get back to that is, we don't play to it anymore, do we? We don't. I think part of the reason Kemp's gone off is because we're just not fucking using him. We're not utilising him. We're not making it work. We're not making it easy for him to do what he does that gets us ticking. That prevents the wide players from ticking. That prevents Reed. That stops Reed having chances. And it ends up sacrificing so much. And it's a very simplistic way of looking at it, going, "Oh well, if we can play to Kemp's strengths, we'll be good again." But sometimes it's the fucking answer. And honestly, we're not doing it at the moment.
I mean, okay, we had a Tuesday and a Saturday, but we had essentially like a week and a half off for the international break, and what always worries me about these positions that we get ourselves in terms of like lack of goal scoring is what are we working on in training that isn't translating into a match day? What is it? Because I refuse to believe that we spend every day at training on defensive shape. Well, like it looks like we do when we get into match day.
Yeah, if you listen to people, including Rebs, talking last season, fucking Presley was fucking R9 on the training field. banging them in left, right, and centre constantly.
I don't know what it is that's not translating from what they're seeing on the training pitch. I mean, it's the same argument as why certain players are being selected when every game that we go and watch, we're going, how the hell has he got to start again? Or how was Phoenix not getting more minutes? And it's all going to ultimately come down to what we don't see as to why those decisions are being made. But at what point does that we look at it and go, something's clearly not working behind the scenes of how we're training or how we're attempting to translate that needs to be different?
I do think the international breaks this year, because there's obviously been more of them, and we've been impacted by that more than probably previous years. I do think it's the beautiful thing about League One football, and in fact just EFL football generally, is there is just always a constant flow of games. You're playing Saturday, Tuesday, you're playing, and that creates that momentum that teams like us can really flourish from, and really, and we have been hampered by that when you've got. And obviously, going out in the cup early, another game that would have been on Saturday didn't happen, so there was a week and a half break or whatever there was, and then you're rotating for the Pizza Cup because you don't want to play like your full strength 11 or whatever.
We probably should have.
We should have gone 100% as strong as we possibly can in that, because actually they need this kind of game time, and I don't know what's up with Kemp or Roberts and those guys, but it would have been a perfect opportunity against Cardiff to say, you know what, we're going to go back to 4 at the back. And we're going to have everything going in the wide areas. We're going to have overloads in the wide areas. We're going to tell Saxon and Luther to go and support Patterson and Chem. I know it leaves you on the bench with not many options if you need like a like-for-like change, because there isn't really any, apart from Bez, there isn't really anyone else who can go and play on the wing. But I get that. But I'd much rather see that than a load of negative, we'll just play 75 minutes and then chuck a couple of forward players on down the line if we can. Because that to me just isn't a wise way of playing, and it just feels, I don't know, like if I'm Cardiff, I'm watching that game, probably getting frustrated for quite a bit of it because you can't break us down. But they would have walked away at the end of that game thinking, all right, we only scored in the 85th minute or whatever it was, but actually in the grand scheme of things, we would have been expecting a lot of a harder night. Mm. It was only the fact that it took a while for them to break us down, just purely, because we did defend well, and that's all, we're going to defend well whether we play 4 or 3 at the back. It doesn't really matter, or 5 at the back, whatever you want to call it. But you have to be going on the front foot. And for me, having Chem and Patterson starting on the wings, if you haven't got Roberts and you haven't got Kemp and these guys who we know that can make you tick, then I'd much rather have that and give wide players the opportunities to put balls in the box. And by that, not necessarily, because we're not going to have Gassan up there. So, whip some balls in low for Reed to get on the end of. And if you don't have then that player playing in a 10, then just play three in the midfield and just have one as more of a box-to-box role rather than someone who sits in the 10. Because I feel like that's a much, much better way of setting up this team right now. If you don't have those players, if you don't have Roberts, you don't have Kemp, those guys who can play in the 10. If you haven't got that, at least set up to try and do something more than what we saw last night, which was essentially defend, lump it forward, defend, and then nothing comes out of it.
You need creative players on the pitch. Every team needs it. Like that's a non-negotiable. If you're not going to win games without creative players on the pitch looking to make things happen. I mean, the real difficulty that I have when we play like this is the response after the game is always, they've worked really hard, we've defended really well. I think that should be bare minimum for us now. We've set a standard for ourselves that you work hard and that you defend well. What is it that we're not kicking on to do? Because we've worked hard and defended well for 4 or 5 years in reality.
Yeah.
And that should be a bare minimum non-negotiable in this side, that's what you do. When that's the pros that we're getting out of games, it does feel really difficult as a fan to see how we're looking to progress as a team, because if that's what we're taking away as the positives, it is quite worrying that that's all we're thinking we're doing well. Yeah. And I just,
it's also indicative of what's actually fucking happening, though.
Yeah, and we talk about, I'm sure we do need a strike in January. I don't disagree that we need a strike in January, but it's probably to replace someone.
But you're not getting a top draw striker in January. Let's face it. if there's a top draw striker out there who's going to go and score goals, like they're already playing for the team they're playing for, and they're scoring goals for them. Like it's the worst time, probably the worst position to try and fix in January. There's other holes that you can plug in other positions that you could probably get away with, but goal scorers are. I mean, it's the toughest even in the summer. I'm not January. I'm using it as the example because it's what's to come, but it's the hardest position on the pitch to fill because as soon as you get a guy who scores goals, I mean, look at when Wickham went and got Kone. As soon as he scored a few goals, he's £5 million offer from QPR or Luton or whoever it was at the time.
Yeah,
like it's not an easy position. What you need right now, we've got a guy who can score goals. When he's at it, we know what Jamie Reid can do.
I mean, he's still in the top 10 in the league or something in goals.
I think he's on like 8 or something. I want to say in all comps.
So what you really need here is a game plan to get him in the positions to give him opportunities to score. Now we know what Jamie Reid's like. You know he can miss the occasional sitter. We know that he gets in his own head if he hasn't scored for a few games and can go on a run of not scoring. So do what you can with what you've got to put him in a position to score goals. And I just don't think they're doing that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean,
six goals in the league for Reid at the moment, which is only 3 behind the man leading the way, Davis Keeler done.
Yeah, I think this was something from when Norris was with us. And a very similar player that went through very much peaks and troughs of goal scoring in a very similar way to Reid. I mean, that League 2 season that we got promoted, I don't think we had a single player that scored more than 10 goals in the league, but we had 4 that scored 10, I think it was, or something along those lines. But Norris was a prime example of if the ball wasn't between the sticks, like he wasn't really scoring bar the odd worldie that he scored, but that was his space. If he stayed in and around in between those sticks on the pitch around the box, like you knew he was going to score a goal. If you put it in the right area, he'd be there. And Reid's very much the same. A lot of Reid's goals will come from in between the sticks, in and around the penalty spot, 6-yard box. It's those spaces you want to get him on the ball because it's the one-touch finish. As soon as you try to give him too much to do,
I agree. But I don't have a problem with him being that kind of player that you put him in those. But you've got to get the ball to him in those positions. That's the problem right now is we're not doing that. So look, you have players like Kemp and Robbo will come back at some point. But even when Kemp was in the side, when we moved to 3 at the back, but in more recent weeks, it hasn't clicked. It hasn't. There hasn't been that same. Whereas at the start of the season, when you had that front 4 of Chem, you had. Who was it?
Chem, Roberts.
Roberts. Sorry, that was it. Chem, Roberts, Kemp, and Reid. Like that front 4 there can supply for Reid, but also they can chip in with some goals themselves. Like Robbo is.
They fucking ought to be. Yeah, Kem wasn't he? Kem was chipping in the goals. The odd one here and there. A couple of decent finishers as well, sort of out of nowhere.
You've got White getting up the pitch as well.
Yeah, you've got players in that front 4 plus White who could easily chip in with 8 to 10 goals this season. And 8 to 10 goals, if you get them from those 4 or 5 players, is more than enough. Because you're going to get a few set pieces where Pidge is going to get his head on it. You're going to get whatever else in between. But we just haven't had that. We've had very much... everyone's talking about, we just need to go and get a striker. Like, sure. I'm not saying we don't. Like, if Gathan hasn't worked out and you don't want to rely heavily on... If Reid gets injured, then you are basically fucked. So...
I started, like you, I've seen people go, Phil's put some money in. It means we're going to be active and we're going to go and get somebody. No one that's going to score goals in League One is going to be available for the type of money that we've got. It's just not a thing that fucking happens. Who we've got is going to be a grift. Who will get in is someone who will likely be a bit of a grifter, both in terms of the fact that they work hard, but also that they're probably robbing a living as a striker. No one who scores goals is going to be available, and if they are, they're going to cost a fucking fortune.
Well, I look at Alfie May, for example, last year got 16 goals in the league for Birmingham. Right. He's probably on upwards of 15 grand a week.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if our strikers are on tops 5 grand a week. So you're talking about players not even hitting that 20 goal mark that we're often talking about for good strikers. They're costing triple the amount. And if you're going into a January window, you're going to have to be paying a fee up front plus an extortionate wage to get any player remotely close to getting you 10 goals in the second half of the season. It's just not going to happen.
The only way you're getting a centre forward in January is if you take a punt on some youngster from a Premier League club and you hope
and
that
they
it works.
happen to hit the
But
ground running.
let's face it, you have your Lewis Orfords who we've tried in more recent times. How many
Charlie McNeil,
McNeil? Yeah, exactly. There's been several that we've tried in the past.
Who scored a few goals in the championship now, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but it's one of those things that with the way that we are as a football club and the way that we set up, there is like a minimum expectation of this is how the Stevenage way is. It is a grind. And those 18, 19-year-old kids realistically come from a Premier League academy where they've been pampered their whole lives. And they come in and think, oh, Jesus Christ, this is completely different to what I was expecting.
Charlie McNeil, who scored 700 goals in the United academies on the way up, right? Has come to Stevenage, and it's very much a case of,
he couldn't even get on the pitch. Like
run, and run some more.
Okay, so this is what it's like when you haven't got the best 11 players in the division around you. I see.
But no, it's not even that. I think it's also just like Revs is not going to take a chance on an 18, 19-year-old guy to go and lead the line when he's got Jamie Reid up there. So he's basically got to then take chances.
But I think he will if they come in and they fucking do it, right? Come in, you take your chance, you get in, you score a couple of goals. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of work needs to be done on the training ground. That's why Charlie McNeil wasn't playing, because he had that goal against Orient, right? He wasn't playing because he wasn't convincing Revs of it on the training ground. Same reason we barely see fucking Jake Young, because something's not right on the training ground. That's why he's not fucking playing all the time. But coming as a 19-year-old striker, couple of goals in your first 2 or 3 games. Working, really fucking driving it on the training ground. Revs absolutely will take a chance on him. I don't believe he won't.
No. But they are also incredibly rare.
It's unlikely that you're going to find someone who's going to do that.
I mean, we could use Nathan Lowe as an example. When he was at Walsall start last season, kicked the ground running, scored how many goals, got recalled, didn't he? For the second half of the season, and he was playing Championship football for the rest of the year, and then he got a move into Stockport. But they happen, like the hype around Lowe was massive because it just doesn't happen, and he was in League 2 doing that, and that's where when you're coming in at January, you don't have a lot of time to do that adjustment period.
No,
it's a next week we've got a game, by the way, or you sign on the Friday and the day after you've got a game, and depending on the situation of the squad, you might be in that squad as an 18, 19-year-old, and you're thrown straight into it. And if that doesn't go well,
I don't think there's not many Nathan Lowes out there that are going to be available in January that you can go and say, let's take a punt on this guy.
Let's be honest. Let's be sort of brutally honest about it. The chances of Nathan Lowe being the Nathan Lowe were pretty fucking slim.
For sure, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He gets subbed off 10 minutes earlier in one of his first couple of games, doesn't get maybe 2 or 3 of the goals that he got. Completely different story, and he's in Stokes reserves kicking up nothing.
Yeah.
The only other option you've got is going down the route of like basically what Barrow did with Presley last year. They came in January and said, we'll take this kid. He's barely having a sniff at Stevenage. We'll take him and see what he does. Right. And he did all right for them, right? I mean, didn't score 15 goals in half a season, but he did all right for it. Got a goal within a couple of minutes of he coming on in his first game, didn't he? Yeah, but again, there's not many of them out there, right?
No, but there must be a striker in a lower mid-table championship side that may only be capable of playing sort of in a lower mid championship side at the very best. Who's not playing at the moment, he's desperate for time, that we can just go fucking lump it on him. I know Ahadmi's basically that player, right?
Yeah.
But also, there's no way he's not a League 1 player. He should be playing League 2 football, if I'm being brutally honest. He should.
But if you're I'm going to pick a name out. If you're let's say Sheffield United, because they probably do have a fair amount of young players.
They've got
in
43 strikers.
Yeah. You're going to look at it, and they're probably going to have 2 or 3 clubs after these lads. Like, it's not going to be a shortage of competition. Are you really going to look at Stevenage and go, I'm going to send my striker there because he's going to get plenty of opportunities and plenty of chances? And do you see, like, that's the other downfall of how we're playing is we're not attractive for loan players to look at us and go, yeah, I can go there, I can kick on, and I can take advantage of
I weirdly disagree though, because in terms of we're still sixth in the league, and players want promotions on their CV. Like I remember watching the Salford documentary. It was on Sky, and they were talking to. Can't think. There was a keeper they were talking to. Anyway, it was basically talking about the fact that the reason he'd chosen Salford, and let's face it, Salford aren't fashionable to players. Like, they play in front of 1,500 fans most weeks. They're only really known because of the Class
cool
92. But the reality is that those owners are going to pump money in to try and get them promoted, and that's what players want. So if we get to January and we're still in this of a decent sniff of the playoffs, or even automatics, if we can win a few games between now and then you are going to be appealing to a player who, if he gets a choice of 3 clubs on loan, he might sit there and be like, we could get this team up. Like, and they'll fancy themselves doing that.
Yeah. You using your example of Sheffield United, Patrick Bamford played 200 minutes this season.
He did only recently sign for them, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a silly suggestion. That's not. I was being tongue in cheek. But then, and again, it's not going to happen. But a lad who's not really playing an awful lot for them, I'm not even going to bother. I'm trying to be a little bit flippant with this, and I'm worried about people taking me seriously when I say the name. So I'm not.
Do you want Danny Ings? Is that who you want?
No. I was going to say Louis Barry.
You've got that'd be nice actually, but
that'll be sensational. But he'd never come to Stevenage. He'd be far more likely to go back to Stockport. Wouldn't he?
Well, he's on loan at Sheffield United.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
but he ain't really playing, is he? So get Villa to take him back.
I think there's definitely, like, I think you're more likely to go with someone who plays in a Premier League academy and going down that route than you are getting a Championship player who is on the fringes of the first team squad. I think that's the reality of it. I think you are more likely to go to probably not West Ham anymore, because I think we've burnt that bridge. But certainly going to like
honestly, I wouldn't think that West Ham are that surprised. West Ham will know far more what he's capable of right now, and it would have been go to Stevenage. It's going to be a grind. Go and put the work in.
It really depends.
And he ain't done enough to get on the pitch.
I don't know.
I don't think for a minute that will be that.
I don't know. You don't know, because there's certain clubs I can imagine he would have been really pissed off that he wasn't playing. There'll be certain clubs who would have probably just turned. That's why why he was sent back early, was probably because he's like, well, if he's not going to play, then get him back here. Well, he can sit in our academy and play for the under 21s or whatever it is. Yeah. But there are some that I'm sure will look at it like go to Stevenage, it will be a grind, and this you'll come back a man almost. Like, there'll be certainly people who will think that way, but I don't know. I feel like
the Neil Warnocks of the world I
just don't think they don't think they exist as much anymore. I feel like academies mollycoddle these players to the point of, like, they're not really thinking, go to Stevenage and they're gonna
that's why we get
school experience or anything like that.
That's why we get players like Philippe Murray who think they're fucking God's gift to football and end up being just whiny little bitches.
He must be playing in the Ballers League now, and he's definitely that sort of prick.
I think he was involved in the first season, wasn't he? I don't know. I try and sort of ignore every single part of that existence. Right, look, we've done this. We've been going for more than an hour now. Like, I've had enough of talking about this.
We haven't even done a quiz.
It's been quite a good debate because it's really driven us on. But we do need to move on, because I've got no interest still talking about Stevenage come up last night. Greg, do your quiz, please.
All right, we're just going to play 501 because it's fun, and
it's a really great. I really enjoyed it last time.
Yeah,
I'm going to hate
just
it this time.
Revisit the rules. So I have.
Is it 5 either way this time?
No. So you have to get to 0, but you can get up to 10 past 0. So you can get up to -10.
Well, I think you'll find if you fucking listen back to the rules last time, you don't know.
Unless your name
said 10 either way.
Unless your name is
the rules.
Yeah, thanks, Nick.
That's right.
If your name's Nate, you have to get it bang on 0.
I listened back. I listened back to the fucking rules, and the reason I misunderstood
if Nick
the
understood,
rules
then it was definitely
is because
clear.
Greg fucking changed the rules. You fuck.
Anyway, we'll move on.
I'm not bitter.
You have to get to 0, but we'll let
Who
you go
cares?
10 past Nick or 5 past if you're Nate. Right. So the only difference to what we did last time, because otherwise you'll just be spouting the same names potentially. So it will be number of appearances plus the goals they scored for Stevenage.
Ooh.
So a reminder of the rules: you can get up to 180, but anything that is a dart score that is a bust for you as well. So you'll have to forgive me here because I'm not massively prepared. So I'm going to be using calculators, and it might take me a little bit of time to get everything together. But Nate, as you are such a great loser last time, you can start. You can have the throw.
Jordan Roberts.
Okay, Jordan Roberts.
I think that's risky. I think I might be a bust immediately.
Let's find out, shall we? Yeah, you've busted. So he's played 172 games.
Oh, fuck. He's scored more than 8 goals, hasn't he?
And he's definitely scored more than 8 goals. He scored 12 in his first season. I'm not going to bother counting the rest.
He was a bust score last time.
Yeah.
But he can't have been. He can't have been
172. He was 172. You can't score that in darts. So
yeah,
you
can't score. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. Nick.
Fuck off.
Right. I'm going to go safe here. And I'm going to go Harvey White.
Harvey White.
I'm already ahead.
Enjoy your 80 points.
You're ahead, but you're not. I was expecting you to go a little bit more.
You're
more aggressive than that.
God, the people pay to watch this sort of negative shit.
So, Nick, you are right, and it's 108 in total.
Oh, that's decent.
That's actually way better than I thought it was going to be.
88 appearances and 10 goals in total. This is all competitions, courtesy of Borough Guide.
Oh, hang on. Can you do that maths again? 88. Did you say 88 appearances?
Sorry, 98. Beg pardon.
98. There we go. All right.
98. Beg pardon.
The maths doesn't maths, but
math doesn't math, but it's fine. You got 98, which is still more than Nate. So well done, Nate.
I'll go with Daniel Sweeney.
Daniel Sweeney, known as Dan on Borough Guide, but I'll let you have it. So he has 117 appearances plus 7 goals, which takes you to 124.
Bosh.
Which is very good. Well done.
Oh, fucking bosh.
Right, let me just do some calculations very quickly because I'm not prepared anywhere near for this. So, Nick, you're on 403. And Nate, you are on 377.
My brain is really not working today, and that's very worrying. I'm going to go with the guy that's behind my head. I'm going to go for Darius Charles.
Ooh, we're getting Charlie Good then. I'm like, fucking hell, all right.
No.
Not so much play it boring, play it safe as play it boring. So.
Okay, Darius Charles. I can tell you have bust.
Oh.
So he was. If it was just appearances, you would have been absolutely fine at 167. But Darius had his centre forward years, so he scored.
I just didn't think he had 167 appearances.
No, he scored 17 goals, which takes you over, and you have bust. So you're still on
167. I was so close to a 180.
You weren't far off, actually. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Cheers,
go.
Darius.
I'm trying to go for people that weren't here very long, but that might have had a decent return on goals. I'm scared of Matt Godden. Said no one ever.
He's got a lovely, friendly face.
He was only here a couple of years, wasn't he? He weren't here that long, but he scored a decent amount. So it could be around 100. Let's go Matt Godden. I don't think he's anywhere near 180.
Hold on, I need to calculate his goals. So it is.
Oh shit!
122.
Oh, that's Belton.
It's good.
Which is pretty good going. Pretty good going. So that takes you down to 255.
I shouldn't have spoken too much about my fucking strategy because Nick's just going to be like, oh, well,
Nick. 403. You're now behind. Nate is in the lead.
I might just start naming like some cult names that probably they'll get me some points, but it's just fun to mention them, isn't it? Curtis Guthrie.
What a tepid answer. Fuck me.
I mean, I would say less cult, more. Yeah. Okay.
He was around for a couple of seasons.
Sure. So Curtis Guthrie. Okay, so he
44 points.
83. He's worth to you.
That's not bad.
Nowhere near as bad as I expected it to be.
And it takes you to a nice round number of 320 as well.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Nate, back to you.
All right, let's see if I can join this tepid bandwagon.
More cunt heroes, yeah.
Anthony Grant.
Oh, what a name! Unbelievable stuff.
I'm sure I've said it on the podcast, but whilst Greg's
you carry on. You carry on.
Dean and I used to have a game we played in the East Terrace, which was how quick we basically pick a minute to see how quickly it was Anthony Grant could be on his ass. Like, shit, you know, the first week we played it, I said 1 minute as a joke, and he was on his ass 14 seconds after kickoff.
Where did he?
Absolutely.
Wasn't he at Scunthorpe at one point?
I don't know about Scunthorpe, but he went to Swindon after us, and they fucking loved him.
He was at Scunthorpe the year. I'm pretty sure the year they went down into the
That's
National
what
League.
I was thinking.
Unsurprising.
When we played them at the end of that season, I think it was the last away game of the season. I'm pretty sure he played in that game.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, he played 12 games for Scunthorpe.
Shithouse at his absolute limit.
Amazing. What a card.
So he had 45 appearances and didn't score a single goal.
Unsurprising.
So
I'll take it.
45, that takes you down to 210.
Not a problem. Tepid.
Nicholas.
This episode's absolutely now being renamed to Tepid. There we go.
Right. This one could be quite risky. But I'm going to go with Joel Byram.
Oh, he's played way too many games, I think. I think he's going to be up there. Could be a really good pick, actually.
Joel Byram. Give me 1 second.
If he's in like the 160s for apps, you're fucked. Because I think he's got enough goals to bust you. Maybe.
So Nick, he had 155 appearances.
It's a great challenge.
I'm gonna have a darts bus score, aren't I?
172.
And 14 goals, which is 169.
He needs scored one more goal.
You see, one more goal, and you would have had an amazing score there. But...
You see, the name,
so good.
The name that is constantly in my head is Cole Piagiani, but I think he's probably appearance. That's not what I'm going for.
No, that's right. I'm just comparing it just in case.
I think his appearance-wise is probably 170 something now, and I'm like, the goals is going to bust it. The goals, because he's had a couple of, I think he had like a couple of good goal-scoring seasons for us. So he might be. I think he's sort of, maybe high teens in terms of goals. So I think it's dangerous as fuck, and all of that's just stalling for time, so I can pick someone else.
So you're not going with Carl Piagiani then?
No, I'm not. I'm going to go with Steve Morrison.
Steve Morrison, that is
only a couple of seasons, I think. Good amount of goals.
Should we find out?
So it's not too many.
I thought him. For some reason, I was like, that's going to be way too much, surely.
No, he wasn't here very long.
It's way too much. He had 153 appearances.
He played loads of games.
And do you want me to bother counting how many goals in total? Because
I'm amazed he's got that many appearances. I thought he had about 100, maybe 120 at
He was
most.
with us for a fair amount of time.
he had 89 goals on top of that as well. So
yeah.
you unfortunately have busted there, I'm afraid.
I really have misremembered.
Right, let's get the scores rolling now. So just as a reminder, Nate, you are ahead on 210. Nick, you're still back on 320, so you could do a big one.
So I don't think this is going to be big, but I feel like I just need to make some progress here. So I'm going to go with the player that when I was like 13, 14, I gave shit on Twitter, and that was Stacey Long. I'm going to guess it's going to be...
I want to hear this story of why you gave him shit on Twitter.
I can't even remember, to be quite honest. I feel like it's going to be maybe the 80s, but more on his appearances than his goals.
Okay. So that scores you 99.
Okay, I'll take that.
89 appearances and 10 goals in his 3 seasons.
I'll take that.
Which is 99. So that takes you down to 2-2-1. It's getting close. 210 versus 2-2-1. Nate, back to you.
Danny Newton.
Danny Newton was a previous answer in this. And I can't remember if it busted or not, but let's find out.
I think although he was here for a few years, I think he had a couple of more than a couple of spells of injuries. And while his return on goals was good, I think the spells make him sort of a lower answer than you would just immediately assume from his length of time. But obviously, he might bust because the score's just unreachable.
Okay, so he scored 39 and 131 appearances.
Ooh.
So that is 170.
That's a great score.
So that's a belting score. You need double tops, Nate.
Christ.
If you hit the double tops, you're in. Nick, you need to make a massive dent here.
I need 40.
Right, I think I've got a good one here, but it is going to be very risky. I think.
Is it a cult hero or is it?
I think it's not a Curtis Guthrie cult hero, but like a.
Fuck yeah.
Are you saying that Stacey Long was not a cult hero?
Stacey Long was a cult hero in my book. I'll definitely claim that.
Stacey Long was my wife's
Joel Byram
favourite Stevenage player.
Yeah, I think he played one bad game, and it was when I first got Twitter as a 13-year-old, and I thought I was big. My guess is going to be Luke Freeman.
Luke Freeman.
Oh, you're gonna bust.
Do you reckon?
No. I don't remember him scoring many goals.
I think he played a good chunk more than people think. It's not going to bust. I think it's an all right. It's going to be an all right return.
Okay, so he gets you 146.
Oh, look at that.
Okay,
which is pretty good. You needed 221. Right. You now need 75. So both of you are on finishes. Ooh. Nate, you need 40.
Okay, so I think I'm going to go for someone who was only really... Oh, I think it might be too many.
You can go 10 past. Don't forget. Yeah. Not either way. 10
I'm trying to think of basically someone who maybe was only here for Steve Evans' promotion season.
Just don't overthink it.
And I think that player is Danny Rose. Because he was literally with us one season, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I think that could be an undershot.
Danny Rose.
I don't care if it's an. I mean, yeah, I don't care too much if it's an undershot. Like, okay, fine. I'm sure I can find a person in my head who's played 5 games.
I'm just like Harvey White played 50 games last year. He definitely played nowhere near that.
Danny Rose didn't play every game. Danny Rose didn't score a ton, and
it's when Gregson says he's got it back.
Is Danny Rose your final answer?
Yeah.
So I can tell you, Danny Rose scored 9 goals in all competitions.
Please be played appearances.
53 games in total.
Oh!
36 starts and 16 sub appearances in all competitions.
Okay.
So all those Pizza Cup waste of time.
Yeah.
Let's fuck you there, I think. So that is a bust. Nick, you need
Yes.
75 to nick it.
Who's played 75 games? Well, 85.
If we knew that, we'd all be screaming it, I'm sure. 75 to win.
Okay. Oh, this is tough.
It is.
So Stacey Long would have had me over. Right.
Who else have you abused on Twitter?
I haven't, but I used to really love this guy when he played for us, and I'm praying that he will get me just within. And it's Yemi Odobade.
Yemi Odobade.
Because I think he was with us for a decent enough spell, but he wasn't like prolific.
He definitely wasn't prolific. I can tell you that for sure. So
I'm hoping that his goals will just tick me into.
I think you've undershot, maybe by.
But I'll take at this point. I'll have to take the undershot. Won't I?
So Yemi scored 18 goals.
Okay.
And played 69 appearances, which is 87. So you did overshoot by 2. Unfortunately, Nate. Back to you.
This is so much harder with the goals in.
It is.
Can't just do the same appearances though, because everyone will just go with the same. Ben Coker, that's what everyone went for last time.
I'll be honest, I would not have remembered any that we would have done last time.
Okay, so what range are you letting me have this time, Greg?
So you basically up to 50, but you need to get over 40. So bang on 40, between 40 and 50, because you get a 10 nice little leeway, but not 10 either side.
Okay, I can't go for chair then.
Why not?
Because he's not. I don't think he's got enough.
Don't
Actually, he probably doesn't have enough to get me within 10 either way. Anyway, trying to think of like loanees that probably played most games in a season. Up to 15. Fuck, it's tough because like now I'm thinking like I'm just going through like players like Christy Pym. Now he probably played every game that season.
I'm not including Christy Pym as a prick.
Fuck. This is so difficult. This is going to go longer than our fucking hour-long chat about Cardiff.
I say I have to start speeding you up, otherwise I'm going to give Nick another attempt.
You can fuck off.
We can always go for someone to get your score down, and then if you think it might be easier to go with fewer appearances.
Tell you what, I might do that. Dean Campbell.
Just to get one goal of Villa.
Just to get me down into a closer amount.
So Dean Campbell, I'm almost certain
because I'm sure because I think fucking Gigglebits over here is going to bust.
Fair Gigglebits. So Dean Campbell, I'm pretty sure was an answer in.
Well, it's what lost us the game. It's the what
lost
was
us
it? The game
I think you're right. I think you might be right.
Because I think Aaron was telling me to pick Dean Campbell, and I picked somebody else.
Yeah.
He did. So this is for you. This is for you, Aaron.
But then you only need like 17 then.
Yeah, and I think I've fucking got a player that will get me
just
there.
get you down a bit and not.
Yeah. So Dean Campbell did only score that one goal, and he made 26 total appearances.
Cool.
So that's 27.
I've had a name in my head from since Yemi Odobade that I'm not going to change from.
Okay, and what's that name?
The name is Greg Tansey.
God. Greg Tansey.
He played that entire season under Smith, and then he was here for a little bit after as well. He wouldn't have scored a huge amount of goals, but he was on set pieces a fair amount, so he might have scored the odd free kick.
So he gets you 71, which means you need 4.
So I didn't bust.
But you didn't bust. But you have arguably made it a little bit more difficult.
So
I don't know, potentially.
What do I need? What do I need?
So you need 13, Nate. And you don't actually need a double in this game, so don't worry. You just need to get 13 to 23.
I thought now I'm worried that Ilias shares too much.
Oh.
So he played that second half of the season. He scored 4. Trying to remember the goals. 5 goals? 6 goals? Did he play as many as 20 games? Because that's going to fuck. Let's go. I haven't got a better answer right now, so let's go for it. Let's go. I'm going to go.
Ilias Chair. So you need 13. He got 16 appearances. So as long as he didn't get more than 8 goals, you are safe. He got 6 goals.
Oh, fuck you, Nick.
So Nate, you are the winner. Well done.
I had my final one lined up. It was going to be Joe Van Malcolm.
Joe Van Malcolm.
5 appearances.
Joe Van Malcolm has actually 9 in total appearances.
So yeah, I would have been fine, but
yeah. But unfortunately, Nate beat you to it. So well done.
What a game!
I was really hoping that you'll go Westbrook, but even if it was right or wrong, just for old time's sake.
Is that not who I went for?
Yeah, exactly. Just for old
Yeah.
time's sake. I don't know how many appearances he made. But
12 or something.
It was 12 appearances. Yeah, so that would have just left you with 1. You should have gone saying Westbrook. And then you would have gone Petrovicius, who that twat who played against York.
I know, do you know what? No, I mean, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably gone Reece Orford then.
True.
Well, that would have been wrong as well then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Reece Orford's not played a single game for us.
That's true. That's 0.
Yes, he has.
No, Lewis Orford has.
Oh.
yeah.
You're thinking of Reece Oxford.
No,
He still hasn't played a single game for us either.
No, you are right. Okay, right. Let's have a look around the league quickly. We're not going to take too long on doing this. Vale are bottom. They are fucking shit. So are Blackpool, Plymouth, and Peterborough. Slightly less shit are Exeter in 20th. Doncaster, Burton, Reading, Mansfield, Northampton, Rotherham, Wickham, Leyton Orient, Wigan, and Barnsley up to 10th. I mean, saying Barnsley are slightly less shit than that. Bottom 4 is a bit of a push, but fuck it, we'll roll with it. AFC Wimbledon are 9th, Huddersfield 8th, Luton 7th. Borough have dropped to 6th after results on Tuesday. We do have 2 games in hand over the likes of Lincoln and 1 in the hand over Bolton in 5th, Stockport in 4th. The aforementioned Lincoln are in 3rd. Bradford are defying all expectations up in 2nd, and Cardiff top of the pile, 4 points clear, and about to fucking stroll away with it.
I was just laughing at the fact that actually with our game in hand, if we won that against Barnsley, we would be 3rd.
We would be 3rd, yeah. And then the other game in hand over
one on Lincoln.
Over Lincoln, I don't know, but that would put us within 1 point of Cardiff.
Yeah, we'd be below Bradford on goal potentially.
League One. What a shit League One this is.
I mean, I love how I've gone. Oh, we're only going to score 1 goal against Barnsley to win it, even if we do. So we'll still be below Bradford in goal difference.
Look, we know what's going to happen, all right? Saturday's fixtures. The early kickoffs are AFC Wimbledon versus Mansfield and Huddersfield versus Wigan. Absolutely no one wants to watch either of those games. Thank you, Sky. Then 3, to be fair, no one really wants to watch any of the games in League One, do they?
No one's going to be watching it on Sky, because apparently it doesn't work for most people. Constant issues.
I lost most of the second half because it's fucked.
We mustn't forget it was windy.
Yes. No, you're right. You're right. Actually, the signal for Sky got blown to I don't know, countries over there, Holland. There you go. Anyway, 3 o'clock kickoffs: Luton, Port Vale, Peterborough, Northampton, Plymouth, Rotherham, Stockport, Stevenage. If we don't lose this game 4-0, I will be utterly stunned. Barnsley, Leyton Orient, Blackpool, Lincoln, Bolton, Exeter, Bradford, Reading, Burton, Wickham, and Cardiff, Doncaster. How do you think Saturday will go, boys?
I'm currently just looking at how Stockport have been doing, which isn't actually that very good.
Win, win, loss, loss, draw, win.
I think we'll
They have 2 more wins than us in the last 6, and they are. If you look on pure paper alone and don't think about anything else, they are much better than us as a squad. They were our pre-season picks to win the league, and while I don't think they're going to now because they've had a weird blip in the middle of the season, I would still be stunned if they're not automatic promotion.
I think it'll be much the same. I think we'll go there, try and frustrate them. It's just whether they are able to ride that storm of being frustrated by a team that are defensively solid. I can't see us going and scoring goals. It does feel a bit like a 0-0, but
1-0.
If they score at some point, it will be the only goal of the game.
I can tell you now, if we score, it will be either a Jamie Reid penalty or a Cole Piergiani header. Those are the only from a corner. Those are the only 2 ways that we will score.
I don't think we've been that good at set pieces though, and that's
before Christmas.
Well, we haven't had 2 of our set piece take. Last night we didn't have any of our set piece takers. We got no Charlie Goody suspended. Too many yellows.
Oh, is it?
Yep. So that's Sweeney in most likely. Obviously we know Butler's pretty much out for the season.
Is he? I missed that.
Yeah, he's had an operation apparently.
I didn't know that.
So he's probably going to be out for the rest of the season.
That's okay. So the regularly not injured Saxon Alley will be ever present for the rest of the year, won't he? So
Lewis Freestone left back.
Well, to be fair, I
fuck off.
I don't really want to see that, but if it means we go back to 4 at the back again, I'm not against it.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we do. Who else are we missing? Hopefully Harvey's back. Apparently he was just ill. It wasn't an injury. So hopefully he's back.
Any news of Kemp?
I don't think he'll be back for the weekend.
Well, if we play 3 at the back, don't matter, does it? Let's be honest.
Robbo?
He'll be out for another couple of weeks, I imagine. Broke a bone in his foot or something like that.
I saw something. I can't remember who it was now. I saw someone on Twitter. Somebody was saying probably not before AFC Wimbledon, but that might be a push. It might be New Year for Robbo.
I mean, he wasn't wearing a boot at the Walsall game, and he was walking around. So
of course he wasn't. He wasn't on the pitch. Come on, giggle bits. What are you doing?
If you're not editing
no, I just need to edit in like a full stop, like standing ovation kind of applause for that.
Rather fittingly, you made that joke after we ticked over an hour and a half of recording, and that just explains exactly why you made that joke.
All right, that's enough then, innit? Cheers. You know where to find us: Twitter, Facebook, sort of, YouTube, Blue Sky, Spotify. Other podcatchers are available. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We've had a massive uptick on our Spotify routes. I'm not going to tweet about it this year because I think it's just a bit showing off. I just want to say thank you for everyone boosting us by like 200%. It's fucking nuts.
Should do a lovely graph.
No. Cheers, boys. See you later.
Woo! Where's your synchronizing woo? Come on, man.
That's right. I'll edit one in.
He's going to put a pat in again, isn't he?